Welcome to SIRM MicDrop, where we amplify voices shaping the future of education, enterprise, and innovation. I'm your host, Khola Dar. I am the Collaborative Provisions Manager for SIRM. I'm also your podcast host for SIRM MicDrop. I am extremely honored and excited about today because I'm joined by my most favorite person when it comes to UK higher education landscape. I literally call her my rock star. And Miss Lynne Barrow, she's the Director of Student Recruitment at University of Salford. And I'm going to tell you a little about her. There's so much, but we'll just give you a small snippet of what a rock star she is. So Lynne Barrow is the Director of Student Recruitment at the University of Salford. Like I said, she leads a team of academicians, professional staff. She's tasked with both recruitment for global and domestic, international and domestic students. She's got over 30 years of combined experience across higher education and the public sector. And she's holding an FHEA, CIPFA, and AAT accreditation. She holds an MBA with a distinction, a postgraduate certificate in higher education, a postgraduate diploma in research methods, and she's completed ESRC matched PhD training. That's a lot. And this is not even complete portfolio of the work that this woman has and done. So I'm actually really excited. So hello, Lynne, how are you?
Hi, I'm delighted to be here, Khola, and it really, that accolade sounds very much unlike me. So thank you so much for being so delightfully kind.
Well, you deserve it. I've learned so much with her, from her ever since I met her. So, I know the kind of depth of experience that you have. We're going to dive right into it, setting the scene of UK landscape. And who better to do this and to say this than you? So let's talk about the beginning of it all. So from your vantage point, let's say, at Salford, how would you describe the current landscape of UK higher education, particularly post-pandemic and post-Brexit? Because I think that's a question people when I mentioned, wanted to know or start with.
I think every Vice-Chancellor in the UK would say higher education is probably under the most pressure it's ever been, certainly for the past 20 or 30 years. It's a very changed landscape post-pandemic. Students are very different, they want different things, they learn differently, and they want to engage with us differently. And so we've had to adapt our teaching and our delivery mechanisms to suit the students. And at the same time, higher education in the UK is very dependent on international student income. And the world as a whole has changed, the way in which the world perceives immigration, the way in which it perceives international students. Yeah. I'm very thankful to say that in Salford, we still have the same number or more every year of international students from a wide demographic across the world, different countries. But we also share a very similar vision and mission to SIRM in that we are a Robbins-era university with a very big focus on widening participation and inclusive education. So yes, the world has changed, but we're changing with it.
Yeah, and I think the numbers that you just said about Salford, University of Salford, is sort of a reflection of all the things that you've carried on and the values that you've carried on, because otherwise I know that UK universities have struggled massively. So that's just evidence of all the good work that all of you are doing. So there's been growing emphasis on place-based education and levelling up. How do you see regional partnerships like ours, maybe, like those in Greater Manchester, Leicester, contributing to the national goals?
I think they're absolutely crucial. And I think the more the world moves towards a sense of isolationism, which if you look at America is in many cases retracting from the world. And so developing a sense of community within a community is crucial. Greater Manchester is a very, very busy metropolis, lots and lots of industry and technology. And what's important is that every student has access to education that prepares them for the world of work in 3 years' time. We started in 1967 as a Robbins-era institution, and we're currently ranked 5th in the UK on the HEPI Social Mobility Index.
Wonderful.
For inclusive education. And that measures the distance between where a student begins the journey in HE to the graduate outcomes at the end. And we couldn't be more proud of that statistic, and our aim is to become number one. and place-based, community-based, civic engagement. All of that is a huge part of social mobility.
I think that's where your choice of partners come in. But partnership is a tricky, complex machinery. So what do you think, because you've been on the top of it, and so what do you think makes partnerships genuinely successful and sustainable?
I think my first point would be visit the partner immediately, which I did very successfully. I visited you in Ilford in March last year, and I can't believe we're sat here not much more than a year later, having already got one semester of students through their
it's like a dream
degree. It's incredible. And I think once you visit the partner, it's a little bit like a blind date. You have no idea what you're going to.
True.
Could be anything.
True.
But when you get there, if you've got that sense of, yes, we've got shared passion, shared vision, shared commitment, and you relate to each other on a personal level, that's what makes a partnership successful. Because every partnership, every marriage in life has opportunities and challenges and disagreements, but also hugely happy moments. And the closer you are to each other, you can weather anything. It doesn't matter what comes your way, any regulatory change, every government change, even changes within the organisation, all of that can be managed if you care about each other.
Yeah, I think that's very beautifully put, because the analogy itself is just, it was like a blind date, and then obviously you don't know what you're getting into. But a university like Salford, what do you think they look at key characteristics, which are like, like any other matchmaking, there are certain no-go areas or things that you feel that are going to be the breaking points. But what are the key characteristics that you feel are a must? And then you saw them in SIRM, definitely. So what were they?
So your alignment of your vision, mission and strategic objectives and goals is absolutely essential. In the case of SIRM, we're both very much focused on place-based partnerships with a widening participation and inclusivity perspective. Recently, OFS regulations require that if you are going to enter into a collaborative provision relationship within the UK, the partner should have OFS regulation. That was, before we even visited, that was something that we checked. OFS registration, Pearson registration, other accreditations that you've got. We're moving towards a CSB accreditation, and those kind of accreditations require a very particular balance of staffing ratio in terms of the key characteristics of staff. And so if you are either accredited by bodies yourself or want to be accredited, making sure that the partner staff align with that accreditation requirements, that's also essential. But truly, I can't overstate the importance of the senior leaders coming together and working together as one and being totally committed to the same objective. Outside of all of the regulatory accreditation frameworks, all of that, which are absolutely essential, as are the quality management processes we need to follow. What's really important is that personal relationship.
It is. I think ever since we've started working together, and the first time we sort of started talking paperwork, putting it together and everything, I think the kind of homogeny that I saw and the kind of same kind of passion and drive between both sides' leaders was something that I could see early on, and you could see as well that this will go further, because both our CEO and your desk and the entire team were sort of passionate about widening participation, where they will take the partnership. And speaking of which, obviously employability is an important factor when it comes to students that are adult learners coming back into education, or learners that want to sort of do something with their life. They're upskilling themselves. And we saw Salford as that university that has the same passion and drive for making sure the students complete their education and go somewhere where they're successful, and to see them grow and flourish. Where do you think we're going to merge, as in what are the future plans for, because I did speak to sort of the business team, academic business team, and they were speaking about a few programs and the things that are in the curriculum that will help. So how do you see that happening for students at SIRM, at a partner college, and yourselves, and sitting at the University of Salford? What are the things, what are the plans?
Well, the fundamentals of a true collaborative partnership are that you grow together, and that established partner, which in this case is Salford, helps to mentor SIRM and SIRM staff on that journey, you know where you want to be, you know what you want to provide for your students. In many cases, we already do that, and there are things that we're talking about learning together and helping to mentor your progress. So one of them is our launch 12-week entrepreneurship program, where students from across the university from any program take a 12-week program which takes them from the very germ of an idea for setting up a business, the very tiny little acorn, and takes them right the way through to developing a business plan, getting funding, and often even getting access to funding. So some industry providers with pots of funding that we can give to people who demonstrate a really excellent business plan, and where they are engaging with suppliers or customers, and we can see that there's a genuine ability to create a business from that idea. We also have our Dean's Employability Award, where students, industry have told us what key skills they want from students, and as you can imagine, it's not rote learning anymore. It's not reading out 300 words of on a topic in history or business. It's about doing things. And so the Dean's Employability Award is 10 key skills that the students have to acquire throughout the year, and they can select from a very wide range of activities and skills. If they get successfully through 10 of them, at the end of the year they get a Dean's Employability Award. And we have a really wonderful student, Ida Badadafar, who's from Iran, and she's been with us for 3 years. She's about to graduate with a first class degree, moving into masters, and she has won the Dean's Employability Award every year. And those are the kind of students that make your heart sing, because they're just so committed. And so she will be, I'm certain, a leader in the UN or something equally transformative for society.
Amazing.
And then we also have Employer in the Foyer activities, where about every 3 weeks or so we have industry-specific employers and industry into a room within the business school, and students can move between the stands, chat to the employers. These include people like magistrates, barristers, solicitors. It depends what the industry is, and it's a two-way street. The employers are looking for the right students with the right skills and the right commission and commitment and passion, and the students are looking for the right fit for them. So all of those three things are things that I'm certain you'll adopt in some form very quickly. And it will be wonderful to see the students progress through that, just in the way that they progress through it for us.
Yeah, that's the aspiration.
Yeah.
And when you were mentioning that student's journey, these kind of stories are exactly the happy place where this is why we do what we do.
It is.
And then you've attended one of our graduation events, and you've seen how all of our staff and faculty and the leadership just beaming, because at the end of the day, go through it's watching them progress, it's watching them see, and because the way we work with learners and the kind of student services, bespoke student services that we have for them, because we know their struggles, we know how where they're going to be, where they're going to be challenges for them, and the kind of things that we set up for them, because we work with them, we know their stories, we know the fact that they were struggling with this, and look at that moment when they're finally graduating and they've built something, because we help them with their business ideas and incubation as well now. So I understand why, and I think that's where University of Salford and SIRM sort of, that's the overlap, or that's the homogeny, or that's the place where I feel that we merge, and we enjoy, and the deans enjoy, and they work together. And I've worked with other partners and partnerships, and I feel that wherever the heart is in the same place, it will work. And like you said, there could be challenges, and there could be, struggles between, it could be issues with respect to staff turnover, delays in something. So something, I don't know. There are lots of challenges in a partnership that can happen. But I think if you have the right team and you can go through it together, work out on a problem.
Exactly.
It's like any other marriage.
It is. Good marriages are based on solid foundation.
And yes, and if you've placed that right at the beginning, which you did, Lynne. So like I always say, for me, you're a rock star, because it was the shortest time possible. Where it was a roller coaster ride. It was. And having worked with the partners and partnerships across the globe, I didn't see it happening. Well, I was like, wait, let's see, but it was just so quick.
But equally, we
smoothly.
didn't compromise on
Not at
quality.
all. That's what I'm going to talk about
Yeah.
next. You know, it comes with a lot of regulatory scrutiny, partnerships do, and then there are institutions that have, and you know, you have to ensure quality, governance, alignment to all of that. How do you think? What would you say is the key pointers that Salford looks at and works on the regulatory compliance? And I'm sure there's rigor, because we went through the dire due diligence process, and it was a lot. It was a lot. So maybe sort of talk about that. What partnerships are key, like we've discussed, but what are the things that obviously, the way you can say clearly that these are the regulatory compliances that we will not sort of forego? Yeah.
So, I mean, Salford has very few collaborative partners in the UK. SIRM really is the largest partner, and that's been a deliberate strategy. We would rather work with one excellent partner with aligned quality frameworks, with the same focus on staff accreditation, staff qualifications, staff research, and grow together and develop that one partnership than have 10 partnerships with different institutions that it's impossible to keep track of the quality. It becomes exceptionally hard. We have, you know, no desire to move beyond this other than to develop this partnership, because I'm certain that, I mean, we will probably talk about this, about where we see you in a few years' time, but honestly, I truly do see a huge future for our two organisations working together. And I think there's just the world is our oyster in terms of what we can offer. We only work with OFS registered providers, and again, that's a sign of quality.
That is.
You had OFS before we even discussed things with you. You'd already laid those amazing foundations. Your CEO, Junaid, is really a true global leader who truly cares about his staff and sees them as family. And I do too, and I hope that our senior leadership team in our business school, we see all of our colleagues as our family members. If you see them as family, just like we were talking about the partnership being a marriage, if you see your colleagues, co-workers as your family, you are always looking to ensure that the best thing happens for them.
Yes.
And research and knowledge exchange, something that's often difficult to see in collaborative provision, but it's something we most definitely have on our radar. We've already had our colleagues talk to each other. Many of your colleagues have got PhDs. They've conducted research in their home countries. We will look to work with you on collaborative provision in terms of research and knowledge exchange. Another thing that we've done very successfully, and I think this does partly come down to not having too many partners, we have a really excellent link tutor. Both Salford has an excellent link tutor, Nagat, and SIRM, you've got an amazing link tutor, Nadia, and together they make magic. They just work together symbiotically. There is no differentiation between them. They could be colleagues working next to each other at the same desk in the same place every day. And I think that's crucial because...
And it's worked.
Yeah. Partners lose sight. If you're not with the partner alongside them, almost as their co-pilot or shadow, you lose sight of why you're doing it and you lose sight of the quality. That will never happen with us working as partners.
And I think initially when we set up teams, and I think that's key. I'm glad you mentioned it. Is one of the key things that we did was we placed the right people at the right job, gave them that kind of confidence, and then let them do what they wanted to, and then the alignment between them. So you knew the kind of team you have, and we knew the kind of, and I think it's the right decisions. And I actually really greatly appreciate the fact that you said that some universities make that mistake of multiple partnerships, and I think that is key, number one, to maintaining quality. If you focused on one partnership and strengthening it as opposed to, that just goes to show. Well, almost coming to the last question for you. What advice would you give leaders in higher education sector when they're working in the same remit as you and they're looking at partnerships and looking at growing? One of which you just said is just focus on one partner. What other advice would you give them? With specifically partnering with the institutions like SIRM, because there is a lot of partnerships going on. There's a lot of universities looking at different partners. What advice would you give? Because you sitting on I would say a lot of experience on that.
Visit, and trust your instincts.
Yes.
If things don't seem right, they probably aren't. If every time you visit each other, and this is not just one way, it's not a quality visit one way, this is about developing that relationship. If something feels wrong, you need to have the strength of relationship to be able to say that to each other and say, this just doesn't feel quite right for some reason, or maybe it would be better if we did this in a different way. So I think you acquire that instinct over a number of years working with partners. I've worked with partners across the world probably for about 20 years now and visited everything from tiny schools at the top of mountains in India. I've been a visiting professor at Beijing University. I've done all sorts of different things, but it always comes down to trust my instinct.
I think that's amazing. Also, just last question, where do you see SIRM in the next 10 years?
You're definitely going to be a university in your own right. You'll have degree awarding powers, there's no question. Your quality processes, the way that you're building and generating something so tangible. I mean, literally, my visit here today, I can feel it, just like I felt it in Ilford. It's something you just can't quite put your finger on, but you know that there's something special there. You already are special, but you're going to be super special. And I really do envisage us still working together very closely, but on a much grander scale with a wider variety of programs, researchers collaborating on things that provide impact for society and local communities. And if we can give that gift of the joy of learning to as many people as we possibly can, those learners will go out into the world and they will themselves be great and do good. One of our alumni who's about to graduate with an honorary doctorate in July, Jeanette Gamble, is extremely active in STEM and technology and really wants to widen participation in that field. Her company offers us a lot of internships for our students, lots and lots of ways that our students can interact with them and get value. You're going to have those students all over the world, and you'll be having a lunch for your honorary doctorates, I'm certain. So yes, the future is exceptionally bright. I know it is.
Really happy to hear that. That's music to my ears. That's what I wanted to hear for the School of Information Risk Management. But thank you so much, Lynne. There's a reason why I call you a rock star. There's a reason why I look up to you.
You're a rock star too.
Well, we'll see.
Takes one to know one.
There's a reason why I'm saying this. It's because of all that you've achieved, what you've done and experienced. And I know it's never easy. You make it look really, really easy. One thing that I've learned
from you. Both of us are like swans.
Yeah.
Paddling furiously, but making it look
effortless and looking nice, looking the part doing it.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much. That's
thank
it from
you.
Our podcast. First of all, I want to thank you. And this was SIRM MicDrop. Thank you very much.
Everyone. Thank you.